Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're looking at something that's, well, it's really changing everything, isn't it? Artificial intelligence. Technology, the pace is just incredible. So for this deep dive, we're going to try and pull out the most important bits about AI's economic impact, the consequences, the sheer scale of growth, and what it means for jobs, our jobs. And just to give you a sense of scale right away, our source for this, it's MBNC and UWS, June 29, 2025, their technology section. They've got some numbers that are frankly mind-boggling. Okay, get this. By 2030, AI could add something like $15.7 trillion to the global economy.
$15.7 trillion.
Yeah, and they break it down, right? About $6.6 trillion is expected from just making things more productive.
Efficiency gains.
Exactly. And then another $9.1 trillion from consumption benefits.
So new products, better services, that kind of thing.
Right. Altogether, that could mean, what, a 14% jump in global GDP by 2030?
14%? I mean, that's not just incremental growth. That's transformative.
It really is. It feels like a whole reevaluation of, well, everything economic.
And, the source really highlights this dual nature.
Dual nature. How so?
Well, on one hand, you have all this potential, right? Boosting productivity, creating new value, amazing stuff. But on the other hand, it's causing massive disruption, especially in traditional job markets. So it's this powerful force that, it creates opportunity, definitely, but it also throws up these huge challenges. People really need to adapt, or they risk, getting left behind.
So, okay, thinking about our listeners, what does this actually mean for you? Our goal here today is really to distill this down. We want to help you understand the big shifts happening, what it means for the economy, for the workforce, maybe even how society functions. And the source points out something interesting. It's not just like factory jobs anymore, even roles we thought were safe.
Yeah, analytical tasks, right? Like accounting, legal research. AI is making inroads there too.
Exactly. So it's affecting how we think strategically, how work gets done at almost every level. It's being augmented, maybe even redefined. So let's dig into that disruption piece a bit more. Job displacement. It's the big fear, isn't it?
It is. And the source confirms automation has already replaced a lot of routine manual tasks. You see it in manufacturing, customer service, data entry.
And the World Economic Forum numbers you mentioned earlier, what was it, 85 million jobs displaced?
By 2025, yeah, that's the projection. 85 million. It sounds, pretty scary when you just hear that number.
It really does. But the source doesn't just leave it there, does it? It suggests there's another side to this. It's not all loss.
Absolutely not. It's more complex. So yes, 85 million potentially displaced. But that same WEF report, it projects around 97 million new roles could emerge. 97 million. Okay. So more created than lost, potentially. Potentially. But here's the tension, right? What are these new roles? And crucially, can the people whose jobs are displaced actually move into them?
That's the million-dollar question, or I guess the 97 million job question.
Exactly. And the source mentions, like we said, even analytical roles, accounting, legal, even medical diagnostics are seeing significant automation potential. Think about healthcare. AI diagnostics could automate maybe 20-30% of what radiologists do now.
Wow.
So the real challenge isn't just the number of jobs, it's the transition. Can we help workers make that shift into these often more technical new roles?
And beyond just the numbers, jobs lost, jobs gained, the source seems to argue AI is changing the actual nature of work itself. Can you unpack that a bit for us?
Sure. So we're seeing this rise of what the source calls hybrid roles.
Hybrid roles.
Yeah. Basically, jobs that combine human skills like creativity or critical thinking with machine efficiency. AI does the heavy lifting, maybe the data crunching, and that frees up the human professional to focus on strategy, complex problem solving, interacting with people.
Okay, I see.
And McKinsey estimated, I think that's about 14% of the global workforce might need to switch jobs entirely by 2030. That's like 375 million workers.
375 million.
Yeah.
Needing to switch occupational categories.
Yeah. So it's not just replacement. It's real transformation of what people do.
But that kind of shift, it must place new demands on workers, right? You can't just walk into these new roles.
Oh, absolutely. You've hit the nail on the head. Workers increasingly need, strong digital skills, obviously, but also adaptability.
Yeah.
Problem solving, being comfortable learning new things constantly.
Lifelong learning, basically.
Precisely. And if people don't or can't upskill, there's a real risk they get marginalized. The job market's just getting more competitive in that sense.
Which really puts the spotlight on governments, on companies.
To invest.
Yeah.
Seriously invest in training, reskilling, lifelong learning programs. We need to bridge that skills gap.
And while we're talking about new ways of working, the gig economy comes up too, right? AI is kind of central there.
Oh, massively. AI algorithms are basically the engine behind those platforms, connecting freelancers with projects, managing logistics.
Offering flexibility, which is the big draw for many.
Definitely. And it's growing like crazy, projected to hit, what, $455 billion by 2027?
Wow. With something like 86 million Americans freelancing. That's a huge chunk of the workforce.
It is, but the source, it digs a bit deeper than just the flexibility aspect. It points out that for many long-term gig workers, that autonomy comes at a cost. Lack of health insurance, no retirement plans.
The traditional safety nets aren't there.
Exactly, which raises big questions for policymakers, you know? How do you protect these workers without stifling the innovation that these platforms represent?
It's a tough balance.
And then you throw remote work into the mix, which AI tools are also boosting. It's really blurring all the old lines about what employment even looks like. Workplace culture is changing fast.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the challenges, the disruptions, the anxieties. But despite those concerns, AI also offers huge opportunities, right, for economic growth.
Oh, undoubtedly. By automating those repetitive tasks, businesses can free up people.
To do what? Innovate. Focus on higher value stuff.
Exactly. We're seeing entirely new industries emerging because of this. Things like AI ethics, which is fascinating.
Right, trying to manage the implications.
Quantum computing, too, using that weird subatomic physics for incredible processing power.
Okay, yeah.
And green tech, obviously, using AI and tech to tackle environmental challenges.
And the market sizes are huge there, too.
Yeah, the AI market itself, projected at $1.8 trillion by 2030. Quantum computing may be $1.3 trillion in value by 2035. These are massive new economic engines.
So it sounds like there's a race on, almost.
Well, the analysis suggests that, yes, countries that really invest in AI research, in developing their workforce for these changes, they're likely going to lead the global economy.
And those that are slow to adapt
could face stagnation. It really highlights that getting the most out of AI isn't just about the tech itself. It's about having the right policies, focusing on people alongside the automation.
Which brings us back to potential downsides, doesn't it? Like inequality.
Yes, that's a critical consequence, the source flags. The worry is that high-skilled workers, the ones who can really leverage these AI tools, will see their earnings go up significantly.
While low-skilled workers, maybe those whose jobs are automated away,
they can fall further behind, widening that gap.
And that income inequality concern, it feels really central. The PwC study you mentioned suggested AI could make it worse. Does the source say why that's such a big worry? Or what the immediate risks are?
Yeah, it's worrying because it could deepen existing wealth divides. And, if it's not addressed, that can lead to social instability, less economic mobility for lots of people. It becomes harder to climb the ladder.
So what can be done? Does the source offer solutions?
It touches on possibilities policymakers need to consider. Things like universal basic income, UBI.
Right, that regular payment regardless of employment.
Or progressive taxation systems where higher earners contribute a larger percentage.
Taxing wealth or high incomes more heavily to fund transitions or support?
Exactly. But the key takeaway seems to be that managing this future really requires strong collaboration. Governments, businesses, education, they all need to work together.
Which leads us to preparation. How do we get ready for all this? The source seems pretty clear on this.
Very clear. Reskilling programs are vital. Apprenticeships, strong STEM education right from school age.
And that World Economic Forum stat again? 50% of all employees needing reskilling by 2025.
50%. Half the global workforce needing a major skills update. Yeah, well, it's a monumental task.
Makes you wonder if our current education systems are even set up for that kind of scale, that kind of speed.
It's a huge question. And it also underlines the importance of those soft skills.
Like emotional intelligence, creativity.
Exactly. Leadership, teamwork, critical thinking. The things that AI, at least for now, doesn't do well. They become uniquely human, complementary skills.
So the overall message from the source isn't necessarily doom and gloom then?
No, I wouldn't say so. It feels more like, look, this disruption is happening. Instead of just fearing it, we need to see it as a catalyst, a push towards progress. The goal should be making sure these incredible advancements actually benefit everyone.
Not just a select few.
Right. It's all about adapting proactively, investing strategically in people.
Okay. So wrapping this up, it seems clear that AI and tech disruption, they're not going away.
Yeah.
They're fundamental forces redefining work.
Absolutely inevitable.
And the consequences,
Yeah.
they're both incredibly positive in potential, but also deeply challenging. We need strategies, proactive ones.
And to navigate this successfully, it seems imperative that we find ways to encourage innovation
Keep pushing the boundaries.
while also putting human welfare front and center. It can't just be about GDP growth. It has to be about building an economy that's inclusive, adaptive, fair.
So maybe here's something for you, our listener, to think about after this deep dive. The choices we make now, governments, businesses, each of us as individuals, they're going to shape whether AI becomes this tool for widespread prosperity, or if it just deepens the divides we already have. How do we make sure technology truly enhances human potential rather than just replacing it? That's a big question, definitely something worth mulling over.